Hello and welcome to White Horse Music TV. My name is Richard Bodina and I'm co-owner of this wonderful shop with my lovely wife Michelle Bodina, who's not behind the camera today. That's Dylan. If you turn around you'll be able to see him, but probably don't because you might not see him. So today I am demonstrating 3 different violins for a particular customer, but you're all welcome to see what I'm doing. Violin number 1 is a Raggetti Rv7, and in fact all of these violins are Raggettis, and you know, a lot of people don't know the difference between these creatures, so it is good for me to point out the differences. Violin number 1, Raggetti Rv7, this one is called Raggetti Rv7 Distressed, and the distressed refers to little scratches and things like that make it sort of appear like it's an antique violin, little tiny scratches, and also this sort of like fading to the flanks there of the bulk of the colour of the violin, just to give it that sort of slightly worn look, which I really love. Like, I've always loved that sort of look. I can buy this violin as pristine Rv7. They don't call it pristine, they just call it Rv7, or distressed. And distressed is a cool name. I often say, look, if it's so distressed, maybe you should buy it. You can take it to counselling, look after it. You know, eventually it will become the standard sort of looking violin, or maybe not. Violin number 2 is Raggetti Master Series. Now, this one may have a little bit of a complex and may think it's better than everyone else because it's a master violin. Basically, they call it Master Series because it copies famous master violins. So you can get this Raggetti Master Series 6.0 violin in different styles. So this particular one is called SOIL, so don't call it soil, it'll be upset. Call it soir or something like that. Soir Chantel. So that's a very old violin, a famous violin that this violin is copying. If you had the real one, you'd be able to sell it for millions of dollars and retire and live on an island or something like that, and that'd be great. But this is, as you will see, significantly more distressed than the distressed Rv7. This one is going to require severe counselling over many years. Oh, I reckon that looks amazing, how they've made it look like, you know, sitting on the back of the case. We're talking about a 300-year-old violin here. So sitting on the back of the case, being worn away in different areas. Maybe you have held it here more. Maybe you've been playing up here, and so you've, worn away the varnish. I reckon it looks amazing, but it's extremely distressed. You'll be okay, don't worry. Next violin. This is also Raggetti Master Series. It's a different model. So this is the Yasei Guarneri, which is a very, very, very famous violin, which was played by a very famous maker. It's got a beautiful, extremely tasty one-piece back there. And this particular one's a darker looking violin with more sort of complex colours and more variation in the colour, but that's just a look thing. So maybe we should give them a bit of a play. So first up, we have this Raggetti Rv7. Let's give it a play. Okay, so that is strong and deep and full, but I would say its best attribute is that it's very clear, strong, full. And you know, like often with really, really cheap violins, they're very, very clear. You know, you can hear the sound really well because they're really clear, but they don't have that much depth. This Raggetti Master Series has clarity, but also depth. And you can sort of feel it through your body as you're playing because it's got good depth. So, you know, that's what makes it a very popular violin, this particular one, Raggetti Rv7. Okay, so I don't think it should feel distressed at all. I think it's beautiful. Now next up, I'm going to play this Raggetti Master Series 6.0 violin. Now this is a few models above the Rv7. So you've got Raggetti Rv2, Rv5, Rv7, Rv8, Rv9, Rv10, and then Raggetti Master Series 6.0, which this one is. And then as you go up in quality of wood and workmanship, you go to the 6.3, which is the other one we're going to play. So I'll play this one now, see what you think. Okay, so to me that 6.0 Master Series had sort of like, it was similar to the Rv7 from the same family sort of thing, but it had sort of like more complexity to the sound. It wasn't, I would even say that the Rv7 might have been very, very slightly louder, but this had similar amount of depth, but it was a more sort of like complex sound, more interesting overtones, less sort of slightly harsh overtones, more beautiful sound possibly. So that's Raggetti Master Series 6.0. Next up we have Raggetti Master Series 6.3. All right, let's give this a try. Okay, so to me, that sounded like, okay, once again, same family. Slightly more depth again, I would say. So a slightly deeper sound, but definitely more complex again. And the E string, to me, was more pure and slightly fuller sounding. Really beautiful violin. I can understand, you know, why there's different levels. Basically, like the different levels of cost has nothing to do with the sound, really. It's just got to do with the amount, the quality of wood they put into it, the quality of workmanship, the amount of time they spend varnishing, that sort of thing. They all make a difference to the price. In the end, each one is going to sound different, but generally the Raggetti 6.0 will have that little bit more depth and complexity of sound that goes along with that quality of manufacture. Thanks for watching. As usual, I recommend buying all of them.